Hello, boys and girls, and welcome back to our fifth and final session of JA Ourselves. My name is Catie Hunt, and before we jump into today's fifth and final lesson, let's talk about some of the items that we've already learned about. So one of our terms was the word choice. A choice is to pick one thing over another. So we make choices every day, whether that is the clothing that we wear, the food that we eat, the words that we say, right? So those are all things that we have a choice that we need to choose, right? So it's very important that we make the best possible choice that we can. Another key term that we've learned about is need. A need is something that people must have to live. That could be food, water, shelter, clothing, things that we have to have in order to live. We've also talked about wants. A want is something that we would like to have. Example of a want would be a playful kitty cat, maybe a pet dog, maybe a new toy, maybe a special treat after supper. Those are things that we would like to have or wants, but we don't have to have them in order to live. We've also talked about the key term earn, and this is to get money for a job that you did. So as kids, we can earn money doing various things around the house, whether that would be an extra chore, helping out a neighbor or family member, or a friend of the family. So there's various ways in which you can earn money as a kid. As adults, we start to obtain jobs and we earn money that way. Or we become an entrepreneur and open our own business. So those are just some ways that we earn money. But today we're going to talk about the word give. So what is give? Give is to make a gift of something. That could be a gift of money. It could be a gift of food. It could be a gift of our time, right? So there are various ways in which we can give to one another. Let's think about this. Let's say that you had 2 apples, okay? So you were only going to eat one of them, so you had one more left over. What are you going to do with that apple? Okay, so those are some great options in which you could do with that apple. You may keep that for yourself for later, or you could give it to your friend, right? So maybe your friend wanted an apple, but they didn't have one. So you were nice and you gave them your extra apple. So that was very nice if you were to do that, right? So it's very important that we give to our family members, our friends, our neighbors, and members of our community. I personally do a lot of volunteering for Junior Achievement, so I'm giving my time. During the holiday seasons, I also adopt a family and purchase items for that particular family that may not be able to purchase their own gifts. There's also toy drives that happen during the holiday seasons. There are various different organizations in which people can give their time or their money to that is for a great cause. Another item in which people give to year-round is the local food pantry. That's an organization that collects food donations for families that cannot afford to purchase them and need that extra assistance. So it's always very important that we try to give whenever we're able to do so. So today I'm going to read you a book about a little boy named Charlie and I believe his classmates. So let's sit back and listen and we're going to learn about Charlie. My book is called Charlie Plants a Garden. So Charlie sat with his grandmother at the kitchen table. It was the first day of spring. When I was a little girl, I lived on a farm, Grandma Laura said. Each spring we planted a vegetable garden. The corn was sweet and delicious. I haven't planted a garden in a long time, Grandma Laura sighed. The next day, Charlie walked to school with his friends. A vegetable garden sounded great, he thought. Why couldn't the neighborhood have its own garden filled with fresh vegetables for everyone to enjoy? Charlie told his teacher, Miss Jacobs, his idea for a vegetable garden. Mr. Jacobs smiled. I think we could make your idea our class project and share what we grow in the community. Mr. Jacob said some of the vegetables would go to the local food pantry to feed the hungry. Charlie and his classmates couldn't wait to get started. After working out the details, Mr. Jacobs said the class could start a neighborhood garden in the empty space across the street from the school. Mr. Jacob gave everyone a letter to take home explaining the class project and inviting families to help. A garden would need lots of things. Mr. Jacobs told the students they would sell seed cups for $1 to raise money. Mr. Jacob helped the students get started. He gave everyone 2 packets. One packet had flower seeds and the other packet had vegetable seeds. Mr. Jacobs showed everyone how to glue the pictures of their plants onto the outsides of their cups. When the glue had dried, the students put soil in the cups. They put seeds on the top of the soil and then covered them with more soil. Mr. Jacobs had the students put their cups on a table by the window. Everyone took turns watering the seeds. Little green sprouts soon pushed up from the dark soil. In a few weeks, the vegetable plants would be big enough to plant in the garden. While they waited for the vegetable plants to grow, the students sewed the flower cups. Family and friends put the cups in their windows for neighbors to see. When all the money had been collected, Mr. Jacobs told the class they had enough to buy 2 rakes, 2 shovels, a hose, and a watering can. They were ready to start work in their garden. Charlie liked digging in the dirt in the garden. He carefully measured the space between the holes he dug. He filled the hose with corn plants and patted the dirt in place. Spring came and went. Soon it was summer. Charlie, his neighbors, and the classmates visited the neighborhood garden often, pulling weeds and watering the plants. Finally, the garden was ready for everyone in the neighborhood to start picking vegetables. Charlie picked corn to give to the food pantry and some to take home. Grandma Laura cooked the corn that night for dinner. Charlie's garden corn was sweet and fresh, just like the corn Grandma Laura grew when she was young. Charlie felt happy. He knew he had worked hard and done something special for the neighborhood. The end. I hope everyone enjoyed my story about Charlie and the garden, in which his classmates and him planted a garden for their neighborhood. Not only was that something that they could enjoy doing together and for their own use, but it was also something that the community could use. So that goes back to our word of the day, give, which is to give a gift of something. So in this case, Charlie gave a gift of food for his family and his friends and also his neighbors. I hope everyone has had a great time with me learning about JA ourselves. If I can do this again, I absolutely will. I have loved being with you guys every single day. I hope that you all have taken this lesson and have learned some things that you all can use for yourself and share with your family. Have a great day, guys.